What's going on, Fit Fam? Today I want to take you with me to the gym and walk you through one of my hamstring and glute workouts. So this is a heavy lifting day. I do 2 of those every single week. One is for my quads and glutes, so the front of my legs, and then the other is hamstrings and glutes, so the back of my legs. As you can see, on both days I'm hitting the glutes, and that is because I am always trying to pump up that peach as much as I can. So I'm going to walk you through what a typical glute and hamstring workout looks like for me. You're going to see that we're doing some of the most staple classic movements you can do to not only sculpt your glutes and lower body, but to actually build an incredible physique head to toe. This is because the best way to get in insane shape quickly is to actually do workouts that make you strong. Focusing on the major lifts like squats, deadlifts, and hip thrusts is not only how you're going to sculpt a killer lower body, but also how you're going to get ripped head to toe. This is because your legs are such a huge muscle group in your body. In fact, it's the biggest muscle group. So that means it requires a lot of power to do lifts that are requiring your leg muscles. But although these exercises do focus on the lower body, you're still working your abs, back, shoulders, and arms at the same time that you're doing these lifts. So you can kind of think of a leg day like a cardio session, ab session, upper body session, and lower body session all in one. All right, so we've got some really good exercises. I'm gonna be breaking down the form for all of them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos coming from Nomadic Fitness. And if you want free follow along step-by-step workout and meal plan guides, make sure you head over to my website, nomadicfitness.com, because I got some good guides for you guys to download. All right, without further ado, let's get in the gym and smash out this workout. All right, ladies, welcome to this hamstring and glute session. I hope you are ready to get it poppin'. So the very first thing we always must do on a lower body day is glute activation. This is before we get into our actual working sets. We make sure that we get the muscle fibers engaged and the blood flowing in our glute muscles especially. And this is because we live such a sedentary lifestyle where we are always sitting, so our glutes are kind of shut off. So we gotta wake up those sleepy glute muscles, get them activated and ready to rock so that when we're doing our actual working sets, we're gonna get the most bang for our buck for all that effort. So using a fabric resistance band like I have here is really, really important so that you're gonna make sure that you can really get the muscle fibers engaged. So there's no particular special exercises that you necessarily have to do, but I recommend doing a whole bunch of different glute and lower body exercises like these ones that I'm showing you here. So my absolute favorites that I pretty much do every single glute activation are banded lateral walks, where you just get into a low squat position and walk side to side for about 20 reps. Then I usually will bust out some actual banded squats where I'm just squatting up and down, and then I'll do some banded abductions in this position. And an abduction is simply where you're pushing your knees out to the side, and that's really going to hit your side glute especially. And then usually to finish it off, I do a very specific glute focused warm up as well. So something like this. So here I'm doing an elevated glute bridge with abductions once again. So putting my heels up on a platform and thrusting my hips up into the air, squeezing the glutes at the top, and then pushing my knees out to the side and abducting. And then just to totally finish things off, I'm just going to be busting out some abductions, pushing my knees out to the sides so that my glutes and legs are fired up and ready to go. All right, so the very first exercise we're going to do is literally the best exercise for your hamstrings and an amazing one for your glutes as well. And it's not only hitting those parts of your body, but it's honestly one of the best strength movements you could do all over, and that is a sumo deadlift. So the deadlift is kind of the king of all strength movements because although it is focusing on your legs and glutes in the sumo variation, you're also using your back, arms, abs, shoulders, pretty much your entire body. And the great thing about deadlifting is you can pull a lot of weight. So you're pretty much doing a full body workout, burning a ton of calories, building a ton of muscle by doing this simple movement. So the very first thing you got to do obviously is set the bar up. If you're not yet at a point where you can do it with weight, where the plates are going to be big enough for the barbell to be elevated high enough off the ground, what you can do is find anything in your gym to elevate the barbell so that it's going to be high enough off the ground. So whether that's stacking a bunch of weights on the ground or using a yoga mat or some kind of blocks, just so that the bar is elevated enough. All right, now we got to get into position. So this is a fairly technical exercise. So I'm going to be breaking down the exact movements step by step for you to do this properly without injuring yourself and getting amazing results. So the first thing you're going to do is come up to the barbell, and you're going to make sure that the barbell is directly over the middle of your foot. And you're going to take this very wide leg stance and point your toes out slightly. Now, the very first thing you're going to do is hinge from your hips, bending over, and then grabbing the barbell directly shoulder width apart. And I like to do a overhand underhand grip just because I find it more comfortable and you can pull slightly more weight. So remember, you've only bent at the hips at this point, nothing else has moved. Now that you're gripping the bar, you're going to hinge at your knees. You're going to bend your knees as well. And now you're going to be in the position to start with an arched back, squeezing your shoulder blades together, keeping your chest just over the barbell as well. So that's how you're going to know you're in position. Arched back, remember, never, ever, ever round your back for this exercise because that's how you're going to get an injury. So arch your back, and the way to think of that is literally stick out your butt and stick up your chest. Stick out your lady parts, as I like to say. So you're going to know you're ready to lift when the barbell is directly over the middle of your foot, your butt is sticking out, your chest is up, you're pinching your shoulder blades together, and your chest is also directly over the barbell. All right, so now that you are in position, all we got to do is pull that barbell all the way up. So you want to keep it almost just grazing your shins and thighs the entire time, like pretty much keeping it 1 inch away. And then when you get to the top of the range of motion, you're going to tuck in your hips, give me a little glute squeeze at the top, and then lower the barbell back down to the ground. Once again, having it almost grazing your shins and thighs the entire time. And you're going to let the barbell completely rest when you get to the bottom of the range of motion. Like actually let it rest on the floor for 1 second. Don't keep holding it above the ground. And then you're going to, after having let it rest for a second, you're going to pull it again and repeat the exercise 1 more time for another rep. All right, next up, we have got the queen of all booty building exercises. There is nothing that even comes close to this one, and that is the hip thrust. So there's a little bit of equipment that you're going to need for this one. First, you're going to need a bench that you're going to be able to put your back against. You're going to want to use your fabric resistance band just above your knees so that you can overload the glutes even more. And then I recommend that you get a hip thrust pad, so a barbell pad, so that the barbell's not digging into your crotch. Your gym probably has them, but if it doesn't, it might be worthwhile for you to just get your own because you really should be hip thrusting several times per week if you're serious about growing some glutes. But you can also take a yoga mat and fold it over. Just use something so that you have cushion for the barbell. All right, to get into position, you want to put your upper back just against the bench with your legs in front of you at a 90-degree angle, toes pointed out slightly. Now, really important, make sure your eyes are looking straight ahead at the wall. Do not throw your head back. That's a common form mistake you see, but if you keep your eyes straight ahead, you're going to actually be using your glutes even more. So now what you're going to do is push off of your heels, driving through your hips, thrusting from your hips, and you're going to lift that barbell all the way up from the floor to the top of the range of motion. And when you get to the top, when you can't thrust your hips anymore, you're going to squeeze those glutes at the top, and then you're going to descend back down and repeat. So really push through your heels, drive from your hips, squeeze the glutes at the top. And after you do 8 to 10 reps of these full range of motion hip thrusts, I challenge you to do these burnout pulses. I always like to do that because it's seriously going to destroy your glutes. They're going to be on fire. After you do 8 to 10 regular reps, just do these little mini kind of half reps. I call them a pulse. So 5 burnout pulses I challenge you to, and I can guarantee you as soon as you're done this exercise, your peach is going to be seriously pumped. All right, next up, we got Bulgarian Split Squats, which is very much an exercise I think many of us have a hate-love relationship with. Hatred because it is very difficult, but love because it is so effective. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put one leg up on a bench or chair behind you, and then have your front leg in front of you at a 90-degree angle as best as you can. You might have to kind of jump and wiggle your body around in order to find the right position. All you're doing is descending as low to the ground as you can, trying to get that knee as close to the ground as possible, and then pushing up off of your front heel to lift yourself back up. So it's not a very complicated range of motion, but it is highly effective. It's definitely going to get your heart pumping, because doing this with weight or even without weight and doing any kind of movement that's one leg at a time is always very, very challenging. And this is really going to hit the glutes, the hamstrings, and even the quads. So you're really getting a well-rounded leg and glute exercise right here. So try to work in the 8 to 12 rep range and really focus on full range of motion, good form, and keep track of all of the weight, reps, and sets that you do for all of these exercises. And then make sure to improve every single week by going up either in reps or going up in weight ideally. All right, so at this point, the worst is over. We have gotten the most difficult, most challenging exercises out of the way, and we're just gonna finish off with a little bit of isolation. So we're doing a classic lying leg curl here. So this is really going to hit and isolate those hamstrings. It's quite simple, but it's still very, very effective. You're just gonna lay down, tuck your legs underneath this little pad thing, whatever you wanna even call that, and then you're just curling your hamstrings, curling your legs all the way from the bottom of the range of motion to the top. 8 to 12 reps of this one as well. And now we're going to completely finish off this workout with one of my favorite exercises to really target and kind of isolate and destroy your hamstrings and glutes. And that is a back extension, or a glute ham raise, as I like to call it. You're going to see both of those names floating around in the fitness space though. So you're going to find this hyper extension machine in your gym. Make sure it's set to the lowest possible point so that it's not going to be up too high, because if it's up too high, it's going to be hitting your back more than it's going to be hitting your legs. So you want to be able to completely hinge your hips, as I'm doing here, all the way down. So you can do this just body weight, but adding in a plate and holding it with your hands is obviously going to make it even that much more effective. So what you want to do is you want to slightly tuck in and kind of round your shoulders in and tuck your head in, because this rounding of the back and tucking your head in is going to force you to overload and use your hamstrings and glutes even more. And then you're hinging all the way down and all the way up. And of course, when you get to the top of the range of motion, you're going to want to squeeze those glutes and hamstrings. So since this is the final exercise of the workout, it's kind of a final burnout set. So you're going to be doing a bit higher repetitions. You want to get up to at least 15 reps and even as much as 20 if you can. And I can guarantee you, if you do that many reps of this exercise, your glutes and hamstrings are seriously going to be dying, but it's going to feel and look amazing. Your booty's going to be really, really pumped up as soon as you're done this workout. So make sure you get that selfie in right then and there. All right, fam, thanks so much for checking out this workout video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some good ideas for your next glute and hamstring session, because these exercises are the best to really sculpt an insane lower body, and like I said, get ripped head to toe. Thank you so much. If there's anything that you want to see, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.